Good morning, everyone. We have another great training for you today by Paul Sudduth. Today, we're going to be talking about the ANOC, or Annual Notice of Change. Paul's going to help us to drill down on what you need to do with your clients to help them figure that out, see what position they need to be in, and see how you can help them with this Annual Notice of Change that all the clients get. So everybody that is already on Medicare is going to be sent this letter of what's changing in their plan. And so this helps us to help them basically figure out if they need to switch, stay where they're at, or helps us to capture some business as well. So with that, I'll send it to Paul. How you doing this morning, buddy?
I am doing well. As you all can tell, I am on the road today. As we talked about a couple of weeks ago with September, it's time to start learning what these plans are, all of that sort of stuff. I am at a rollout today. I stepped out to kind of have this meeting with you all. But interestingly enough, they started talking about the same thing that I'm going to talk to you all about today. Because we've touched base on these a few times in the past, the ANOC letter or Annual Notification of Change letter. Those come out every year for every member that has either a Medicare PDP or a Medicare Advantage plan, because each calendar year, those plans will change. So each year those letters go out. Typically they start going out at the beginning of September. They'll go out through the whole month of September, but every plan is required to send that letter to their members before the 1st of October. That gives them the outline of these are the changes to your plan. Now, this happens every year. Most year, that's a letter. They get it in the mail. They toss it in the trash shortly after getting it, if they even ever open it. So most of the times I am reaching out to my clients at this time of the year, reminding them to look out for it. One, it's a good referral source. I can grow my referral business as we go. And I'm touching base with my clients. I'm keeping them informed of what it is that's happening in the market, what's happening to their plan. Because this is a cyclical thing. It happens every September. So I will call my client and say June or July, hey, how's your plan going? Everything going well? Is everything good with retirement? So on and so forth. Next thing you know, I call them back there. Oh, I'm happy with my plan, so on and so forth. Not a problem. I'll call you back in late summer, maybe early fall, see how your plan's going, and we'll go from there. So typically I'll call them back in September and say, hey, have you gotten your ANOC letter? If you have gotten your ANOC letter, great. Let's go through it and answer any questions that you might have about your new plan. If not, be sure to look out for it. And please call me. Right now, I'm sitting here at a hotel waiting for information on these plans. If my client can call me and tell me, hey, man, I got my letter. This is what's in it. I'm ahead of the game as an agent. So I'm asking my client to do me a favor. At the same time, I'm developing a relationship with that client. Now, normally speaking, like I said, these letters are, hey, I got it, really wonderful, throw it away. There's a lot of changes coming to these plans with the Inflation Reduction Act and all of these other things that we have discussed. Now, what's going to happen with some of these ANOC letters, especially say it's a standalone PDP, with that Annual Notification to Change ANOC letter that they get, they may even get a letter that says their premium went down. Because with this new demonstration that the government's doing, that could happen. But did their formularies change? Did their copays change dramatically? All of these things that are not on the surface, right? On the surface of this letter, hey, my premium went down, great, I'm going to ball it up and throw it away. But if I've only got LIS and I've only got a PDP, or if I've only got a PDP, and I go to my doctor come January, he gives me my medication, I go to the pharmacy to pick it up in January, and all of a sudden, this is outrageously more expensive than I thought it was going to be because I didn't read past the premium. So maximize that opportunity for that ANOC letter this year. That Annual Notification of Change letter comes to them every year. This year, there's going to be all kinds of detail in it. And it's not going to be surface level, hey, your premium went up or down. On the MAPD side, it may be that the hospital days that you have to pay for have gone up dramatically. So now do I need to call my client and say, hey, keep the plan you're on. The plan you've got is great, but let's talk about a hospital indemnity or something along those lines. because using that letter and using the fact that the carriers have to send it, one, makes me look like I am knowledgeable about my industry, but two, it makes me sure that I am keeping my clients aware of what's happening to their Medicare. It changes on them every year. This year, the changes are more dramatic than ever before, but it changes every year. This letter and this time of the year is critical for me to get in touch with my clients, because if they've ever had a Medicare plan, PDP or MAPD, they're going to get this letter. So let me touch base with them about this letter. Let me generate referrals for free by just making a phone call to my own clients. Hey, did you get this letter? Do you have questions? Using this and maximizing this annual notification of change will boost the number of referrals and the number of sales in your pipeline exponentially. I talk about my list of 50, having 50 people lined up in the pipeline and ready to sell every year. If I start that in January, I only need to find about 4 or 5 people every month before I get to October, correct? If I'm behind, now is the time that I pick up that pace. And I pick up that pace by calling everybody that I know that has a Medicare Advantage plan or a PDP and saying, hey, did you get this letter? I'm not selling anything, so I don't need to record that phone call. This is a client-based phone call. I'm reaching out to people that I know to find out information about what they know. There's nothing illegal about that and doesn't need to be recorded. So that's why I'm talking so much about using this annual notification of change or ANOC letter to your advantage, because you can generate so many referrals, so many sales that you do not have to buy leads for, that can be warm transfers, not cold calls. So make sure you are maximizing the opportunity that is afforded to you right now by every single carrier by them sending out these letters. Now, they're not going to have one specific date that they send out all of these letters, and all of these letters won't fall into homes on the same day, because the carriers are not completely insane and do not want everybody calling them in the same week. So you do the same thing. Call your United Healthcare clients or your final expense clients this week. Call your call your term insurance clients next week, and maybe your MAPD clients next week. But make sure you're reaching out to them. If they haven't already gotten the letter on the 10th of September, make sure they know that it's coming in the mail. Your Humana plan, your United plan, or whatever is going to send you a letter, sir or ma'am. Please make sure that you read that. When it comes in the mail, check it out, read it over, ask questions, call me, build the opportunity. That notification of change is going to have all kinds of detail in it. Like I said, don't let them just glaze over the fact that, hey, we put lipstick on this pig and we dropped the premium. Well, congratulations, your deductible went way up. Or now all of a sudden your tier 3 drug is a tier 4 drug and you've got to pay a higher percentage out of pocket for that drug. Those are definite changes within those letters that can happen. So be sure to make sure that you're on the lookout for those. Every opportunity to actually fill my pipeline with one more appointment for one more person this October that will give me one more opportunity to either A, make a sale, or B, make a referral, or C, do both. I'm going to do it, especially if it doesn't cost me anything. I don't have to buy leads. I just have to maximize the opportunity that is afforded to me. Are there any questions that I can answer about that? I know that this is a fairly relatively short conversation, but there's not a lot to say. It's a simple concept that we can really take some time and get some leads and get some appointments in that pipeline now by actually reaching out to folks.
So Paul, I mean, that was great. This is just another tool to utilize to get those leads in. So any of your final expense clients, anything like that, are going to have these if they're already on Medicare. So any client you have, feel free to reach out to them and say, hey, did you get your annual notice of change for your Medicare policy this year? Are you working with somebody? If not, I can go ahead and review that for you, because there are a lot of changes happening. So let's just go ahead and get that done. We'll take, 15, 20 minutes and make sure you're going to be in the right plan for next year. Because again, there's a lot of changes happening and you may not understand exactly what the changes are.
And when Skylar talks about there's going to be a lot of changes happening, on average, 10 to 15% of all Medicare eligibles will shop in a given year because they either get this letter or they have somebody or they have pain that is causing them to shop and potentially buy. That's 10 to 15% of all Medicare eligibles every year will shift plans. Because of the changes that are coming this year, carriers are anticipating 40 to 70% of all Medicare eligibles, that's over 30 million people, will be shopping. So the opportunity right now to grab this by the tail and ride this into the horizon is right here for you. It just takes the organization and the time to sit down and make these phone calls and take the time out of your busy day to focus on this other thing. And this ANOC letter, like I said, my list of 50 is typically only 10, 15, maybe 20 people deep by the time we get to September. But once I start calling in my book of business, anybody I know that has Medicare, I start asking about this ANOC letter, and we start pounding on this and trying to deep dive into what does that mean for them. I'm either getting an appointment out of them or I'm getting a referral because, hey, my friend needs help with this. That doesn't cost me anything except for some time. So please make sure you're using these letters to your advantage, because if you can go from 10 to 15 appointments to 50 appointments in the matter of 21 days, bam, we're making some business.
So let me ask you this, Paul. So when you get one of these clients on the hook, let's say we're a brand new agent, when we get one of these clients on the hook, and what's the process at that point? Where do we go? For me, typically, I would go to Medicare Center and Medicare Link. And at that point, what do we want to do? You know?
Well, and that's very variable depending on how I've met this person and so on and so forth. But let's just assume that I'm just out making friendly conversation. Somebody sees my shirt or whatever. Hey, I do Medicare business, right? You're not actually my client, right? We're just having a conversation. Or I'm in a final expense call and we run into hey, I don't have the money to buy whatever MedSup, PDP, whatever it is I'm trying to buy. Okay. Not a problem. Okay. All I have to do is listen to them. Let them speak. Let them express their pain. Be the subject matter expert that says, I will untwist this riddle for you. I will find you options. Okay. Once I've done that, and once we kind of going back to that conversation about building the trust at the beginning, right? Once I've built that trust that I'm the subject matter expert, I can help them unwind this and understand it. I can pivot into, hey, let's go into discussing what your options are. Now, right now, I can't discuss their options, so I'm setting up some scope, and then we're going into the appointment later. But assuming that I'm already in October or they've got an election period and I can make the sale now, kind of like you said, once I've kind of done the needs analysis of this is where you are, this is what you have now. Once you have what you have now, then I can start saying, okay, these are the pain points. And I can use Sunfire Matrix or Medicare Center or something along those lines. I prefer Sunfire Matrix because if the person is expressing that I have pain because something is costing too much, but I want to keep my doctors, i.e. MedSup person. Okay, fine. I go into Sunfire Matrix. I click that keeping their doctors is important. It's going to put the HMOs at the top of the list or the PPOs that have their doctors at the top of the list. So it's going to do the work for me. But it's essentially right now with this ANOC and I'm just pushing the conversation in terms of I'm the subject matter expert, whether I have an existing client, whether I don't have an existing client, whatever. Hey, we've gotten onto the subject of your healthcare, whether it was a final expense lead or I met you at the grocery store, right? Whichever that may be, once we open that conversation to Medicare, I want to be the subject matter expert that can unwind this for you and building that trust.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. So one of the things that I do with that Sunfire Matrix, actually, it's labeled under Medicare Link in Medicare Center. The nice thing about that particular program is you can go in as you put their information in and put what plan they're currently in. So after October, it's going to have both 2024 and 2025 plans that will show up. First things first, and I did this, last year quite a bit. I would always forget to hit the next year's button. So sometimes I would go in and look at the 2024 plan or the 2023 plans when I should be looking at the 2024. So remember that first. But I digress. Coming back to putting their plan in, it's going to show you what the changes in that plan are. Or it's going to show you that plan may not even be there anymore. So right. By doing that, you're going to be able to go in, put their information in, put their doctors in, put their drugs in, and it's going to show you the comparison of the current plan that they're in compared to some of the top rated plans that might be available for them. So when you get these people on the line for the newer agent, the system's going to allow you to do it fairly easily just by inputting a little bit of information. So you have a bunch of help on that side. Yeah.
And when you brought up the term newer agent, it kicked off something for me. Okay. I have a lot of agents, especially if they're coming from outside of the Medicare or health space anyway. I don't know how to have a conversation with a client. If I've got a final expense or a term policy client, I don't know how to switch gears and have this conversation. Right. Yeah. This is the time. This is the conversation that you need to have. Right. Because you can even come at it from the standpoint of, I don't know. Because even a seasoned veteran like me, I'm at this meeting trying to learn what these plans are. The ANOC letter is going to teach me. So let me reach out to my term clients or my final expense clients and say, hey, I do this for a living now. This is now what I do. You will, if you have not already gotten this letter, you will receive this letter. Call me when. So just like Eric had mentioned in the chat, I don't want to have somebody else buying from my clients, right? Well, my clients are final expense clients. If they buy Medicare and I sell Medicare, I need to call them. And if I haven't figured out a way to have a conversation with them yet, ANOC is the conversation starter.
And I love what you just said about even if you're a new agent, because I'm a fairly experienced agent and I use that phrase. Hey, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a bunch of changes for you. Let's at least explore it. Let's take a look at it.
Even as a seasoned veteran, I even use the information of, hey, can you do me a favor? When you get this information, because I haven't seen it, please shoot me a picture, text message, so I can see what your plan looks like. That'll initiate the conversation. But I'm asking, even as somebody been doing this for years and years, that client will get the detail in a lot of cases faster than the agent will. So once again, use that knowledge to my advantage. If I can't figure out, if I can't find a common thread of this is what we want to have a conversation about with a client, even if it's a long-term client, I will push them back on my calendar and I will call them about this ANOC, because that is a common even if me and this client do not see eye to eye on anything, religion, politics, whatever, you name it. The only thing I can commonly thread with this person is their ANOC letter. Okay, so be it. Now is when I call all my clients. That sometimes happens. But you, especially if you're new and you're not comfortable trying to have this Medicare conversation, this is the perfect time to get your feet wet. Start calling your clients. This is what I'm doing for a living. I have a health license as well as a life license. Medicare is now part of my portfolio. Please, when you get this letter, give me a call. If that doesn't fill your pipeline, I don't know what will.
Yeah, that's perfect, Paul. It's a lot of great information, and that helps all of us. So just waiting for any other questions that we have. That should be pretty much it if we don't get a couple of questions here. So nothing else. So great training, Paul. Really appreciate it. Guys, be looking for those annual notices of change letters. Ask everybody, including your family members. I'm always one that, on the life insurance side of things, I have always hesitated to go after family. But in this space, absolutely, because they're going to get it from somebody. This is a commodity, not a luxury. Okay. So they're going to get it from somebody. It may as well be you if you have the license to do it and you're certified to do it. So, all right. Well, thank you, Paul. Until next week, we'll have another exciting topic in the Medicare space, as exciting as that can be.
Yes.
And we thank all of you. So you all have a great day. And if you need to get a hold of us, you can reach out to us through the FFL Health channel. So we will talk to you later. Have a good day.
Thank you all very